Hello and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. It's very interesting news over the weekend with Dwayne Vermeulen once again being linked to working with the Springboks, but apparently in a much bigger role with SA Rugby than initially thought. And, the next destination for Dwayne Vermeulen has been a hot topic over the last few weeks and months, especially recently being seen at Bulls training, for example, where the Bulls actually even had to put out a statement to say that, he's not going to be joining or anything. He was just there to sort of visit. Obviously, there were stories last year about him potentially joining the Stormers. There have been talks about him potentially being the new defense coach for the Springboks, and a very reliable publication in the form of a report has released an article yesterday that sort of mentions a little bit about what Dwayne Vermeulen's new role could potentially be. Now, before we go into exactly what the role is, whether it's a good thing for SA Rugby and whether he's the right man for the job, please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. Right, so initially, there were rumors that on the back of the retirement that Dwayne Vermeulen could potentially be replacing Jacques Niamba as the Springbok defense coach. Now, more recently, in the last few weeks, we have seen conversations or articles really talk about the fact that the aforementioned Ireland international, Jerry Flannery, is going to be taking over as defense coach, whilst former All Black Tony Brown will be taking over as attack coach. We also had John Dobson confirm last year that they were in negotiations with Vermeulen for him to take up a role within the Stormers. Now, that role was believed to be not necessarily the defense coach, but somebody more sort of involved across the wider parts of the union, working with junior teams, for example, and sort of working in the pathways, and that was supposedly all being negotiated. Now, there's been a bit of a twist to that because there's a report that's come out yesterday that says that Dwayne Vermeulen is going to be employed and appointed to a direction within SA Rugby. Now, this is not him necessarily being appointed just as a coach. Apparently, according to the article, he is going to be given a high-ranking position, which will see him work alongside Rassie Erasmus at the Springboks. Basically, that sounds like he has actually turned down, or he did turn down, apparently turned down a move or an offer as a defensive forwards coach from the Bulls because he wants to remain in Cape Town, which is where SA Rugby offices are, and apparently now will take up that role. So what we've seen is a bit of a restructuring at the top. So Rassie Erasmus, for example, has stepped down as the director of rugby. Apparently also will step back based and just focus on being the Springbok coach. Apparently this will now see Dwayne Vermeulen, taking over certain responsibilities that Rassie Erasmus had as director of rugby. Apparently he'll be working very closely with the Springboks, but also it's a position that will allow him to work within other structures within SA Rugby. So that means, for example, potentially other age group, potentially working with the women's setup, for example, and he'll be allowed to, or he'll be sort of working with more than just the senior Springbok squad in this alleged position. So we have got a confirmation. I do think in the next sort of week or two, we will hopefully have a finalized Springbok coaching staff, whether we can get confirmation on Flannery and Tony Brown, as well as an idea on what Dwayne Vermeulen will potentially be doing for SA Rugby. But the question is a good move. Now, I think Dwayne Vermeulen has got a massive amount to give back. I think he's going to be a great coach. I think he's a great rugby person. I think the way he views the game, for example, he's very measured, says all the right things. I think he's got tremendous rugby IQ. And yes, coaching credentials, obviously doesn't have any yet, but he's 37 years old. He's two-time World Cup winner. He's been around the block. He's been overseas, for example. He's played in various different places. He's played in different environments. So he's a very seasoned campaigner. So I do think that there is a lot of knowledge that he has to give back. I'll be very interested to see what this kind of position is. I do wonder, is this giving, for example, too much responsibility to someone who's never really been in this kind of role? We don't actually know. Some people say that he's kind of been really working behind the scenes so much as almost a bit of a coach and mentor, and this is sort of the natural progression. I do think it's a positive thing, to get one of our most experienced, one of our best players ever to have him remain in that sort of setup. From a cultural point of view, in terms of what it means to play for the jersey, I think that's something that's been so important. Part of the Springbok setup, and part of SA Rugby itself. Playing for the SA Under-20s, playing for the Blitzboks, playing for the women's side as well. This idea of culture and what it means to represent South Africa in the sporting code. And I think that's something that he really understands and can communicate very, very well. With regards to the coaching, well, time will tell, won't it? It would be very bold, but as I say, I like the fact that it sounds like we're going to appoint a defense coach, we're going to appoint an attack coach, and Dwayne Vermeulen will sort of be, parachuted into that kind of environment, but will not sort of be the direct person, which I think is a good thing. I think he needs a bit of time to learn himself. Get the ropes, give his input, understand exactly what the situation is and how the environment works, and then be able to grow within that role as well. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Is this going to be a good thing to have Dwayne Vermeulen involved in SA Rugby structures? Do you think he's too inexperienced? What do you think? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Please do smash like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steve. I'll chat to you soon.